Good morning. Good morning, Bookeemonsters. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Friday, TGIF, Friday, December 22nd. So close to Christmas. Hope you guys are doing well. Good morning, Mary. Happy Friday, TGIF. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. Hard to believe that Christmas is only 3 days away. Coming fast. Duck and cover if you must. Stop, drop, and roll. Annalise, Merry Christmas. Hi, Annalise. How are you today? Hope you are all healed and feeling on top of the world. Indeed. Hope you are on the, we heard that it had passed and you're on the healing side. Hope you're getting all better. Hello, Amal. You're getting ready to travel. I appreciate you stopping in. Thank you very much. All righty. Well, quick announcements before we go on. We are doing sprints tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. It'll go for 5 hours. No sprints tonight. And then Saturday, I think Sarah's going to be doing sprints. You can double check that in the morning, my time. So probably about noonish Eastern, but you'll have to check. She's at the Bookish Knitter. And then Christmas Day, it is on Lee's channel, which is Dark Roots Creations, if you want to do some sprinting on those 2 days. I'm playing around with Christmas Eve evening. I'm not quite sure yet. Mal says, I am. Thanks. Awesome. Travel safely. Annalise, yes, I am making small Christmas birdhouses. Yeah, Christmassy. Oh, nice. And Mary says, Mal, nice to see you. All righty. Let us, as we have mentioned every day this week, the pickings are slim this holiday week for new releases. I can't really remember where we were at here on the cozies. We can, I think we did those. We could save those for next week and look at historical mystery options for the MidWinter HistMyst Readathon. What do you think? Up to you guys. Annalise, how am I? I am doing well. I am very glad it's Friday. It was a good week in that we have a new service manager who started, and he seems to be good. So I'm crossing my finger and not looking for the other shoe to fall. Annalise says, hi, Mom, Merry Christmas. So today at work, I like to give a gift to our employees, so I'll be bringing those in. We're not doing anything special at work for Christmas, and we have to work the whole day. It's just the 22nd. We would be probably doing a half day if it was the 24th, actually, but we're going to work the full day because we just have so much to do. So, up to you. What would you like to do? Look at some more cozies or look at some historical mystery options? Can't remember. Those don't sound familiar. Did we do Live and Let Rise? Sometimes they kind of all come together. Yeah, did that one. I think we were somewhere down in here. HistMyst, historicals. Alrighty, here we be. Alrighty, so in January, I'm my very first love of reading any subgenre is historical mysteries. I love them. They just make my heart sing. I like learning historical things, and authors do their very best to be as accurate as possible for the most part within the lines of their story. But I mean, they go to great efforts of being historically accurate for the era that they're writing in. And there are so many historical mystery series out there, ranging from Egyptian up to, I guess they're calling the 70s now, 1970s historical, probably even 1980s, which was only 20 years ago. I know it wasn't, but it feels like it. Um, and I also like that the sleuth has to solve the crime within the technology of their time, which, for the most part, until recent times, was just talking to people and puzzling it out. So I like those things. Oh, a series that everyone loves. Any suggestions? If in historical mysteries, I would say everybody loves A Curious Beginning by Deanna Rayburn. It is set in the 1880s. It is a great interaction between the male and female main characters. That is a good place to jump into for historical mysteries. I think we got through to here. Now, the Laurie R. King series, Mary Russell and Sherlock Holmes. I was not a fan of Sherlock Holmes until this series came out. I don't know why. I just didn't really care for him. Now, in this series, it is about Mary Russell, who has a relationship with Sherlock Holmes. And for whatever reason, this is the book that got me to like Sherlock Holmes. So this starts in 1915. The first book here is The Bookkeeper's Apprentice. There are 18 books in this series. It says in 1915, Sherlock Holmes is retired and quietly engaged in the study of honeybees in Sussex when a young woman literally stumbles onto him on the Sussex Downs. 15 years old, gawky, egotistical, and recently orphaned, the young Mary Russell displays an intellect to impress even Sherlock Holmes. Under his reluctant tutelage, this very modern 20th century woman proves a deft protege and a fitting partner for the Victorian detective. They are soon called to Wales to help Scotland Yard find the kidnapped daughter of an American senator, a case of international significance with clues that dip deep into Holmes' past. Great series. And one we talked about last week, but another fabulous place to jump into is the series by Sherry Thomas. There are 8 books in this series, the Lady Sherlock series. This is a series where a very, very intelligent young lady pretends to be the sister of Sherlock Holmes. And that's another fabulous place to start. I inhaled those books. All right. So we will keep moving on my initial list here. A Test of Wills. Charles Todd wrote a series here of 24 books. It ended last year. This was a writing team of a mother and son, and she passed away last year. So this is probably it for this series. It's set right after World War One. And the first book here, A Test of Wills, the first novel to feature a war-damaged Scotland Yard inspector, Ian Rutledge. Let's get past the... Here, the shell-shocked Rutledge struggles to retain his fragile grip on sanity while investigating the death of a popular army colonel, murdered, it appears, by a decorated war hero with ties to the royal family. A phenomenal writer, a twisting puzzle, a character-rich recreation of an extraordinary time and place. It all adds up to an exceptional read. Part of the main character's post-traumatic distress is he hears the voice of a soldier he had to kill during the war. So uh, he struggles to hide his post PTSD, as many did, and back then it was not the thing to show that kind of weakness. That is a very good police procedural-ish, more of a series. This series I also love, and a new book comes out next Tuesday, but this is the place to start. This is called the Useful Woman series, a Rosalind Thorne series. This says there are 5 in the series. There might be more because somewhere on Amazon they started counting again with a later book, so it's very strange. But this is set during the Regency, so if you do kind of like the Jane Austen type books, um, this is somewhat of that world. The first book is called A Useful Woman by Darcy Wilde. The daughter of a baronet and minor heiress, Rosalind Thorne was nearly ruined after her father abandoned the family. To survive in the only world she knew, she began to manage the affairs of some of London society's most influential women who have come to rely on her wit and discretion. So when aristocratic wastrel Jasper Amesworth is found dead in London's most exclusive ballroom, Almack's, Rosalind must use her skills and connections to uncover the killer from a list of suspects that includes Almack's powerful patronesses and her former suitor, Devon Winterbourne, new Lord Castlemaine. Torn between her old love and a growing attraction to a compelling Bow Street runner, Rosalind must not only unravel the mysteries surrounding Jasper's death, but the mysteries of her own heart as well. That is a good series. I think you have a lot of time to read. Yes, all of these. Read them all. Read all the books. Oh, copies required. Okay. If you're looking for a time period set in medieval, by Margaret Fraser. She has passed now, so there's only going to be 15 books in this series. This is the Dame Frevis series. She is a nun. The first book is the Novice's Tale. In the fair autumn of our Lord's grace, 1431, the nuns of England's St. Friedeswide prepare for I'm probably saying that wrong, for the simple ceremonies in which the saintly novice Thomasine will take her holy vows. But their quiet lives of beauty and prayer are thrown into chaos by the merciless arrival of Lady Ermintrude Fenner and her retinue of lusty men, sinful women, and baying hounds. The hard-drinking dowager even keeps a pet monkey for her amusement. She demands wine, a feast. And her niece, the angelic Thomasine. The lady desires to enrich herself and her reputation by arranging a marriage for the devout novice. She cares nothing for the panic and despair she leaves behind her. But all her cruel and cunning schemes are brought to a sudden end with strange and most unnatural murder. As suspicious eyes turn on the pious Thomasine, it falls to Sister Frevis, hosteler of the priory and amateur detective, to unravel the webs of unholy passion and dark intrigue that entangle the novice and prove her innocence or condemn her. The main character, Dame Frevis, is a very logical, her family used to be in like traveling actors. So she's a little bit more wise to the world than a nun who's been cloistered all their lives. This is a series by Tasha Alexander. There are 17 books in this series so far. I'm currently reading book 5. I started to read this when the books first came out in 2006 and then fell away after about book 4 for some reason. So I'm coming back to this series. I enjoy the first person narration in this one. She's also an intelligent young lady. So, Only to Deceive, Tasha Alexander. For Emily, accepting the proposal of Philip, the Viscount Ashton, was an easy way to escape her overbearing mother, who was set on a grand society match. So when Emily's dashing husband died on safari soon after their wedding, she felt little grief. After all, she barely knew him. Now, nearly 2 years later, she discovers that Philip was a far different man from the one she had married so cavalierly. His journals reveal him to have been a gentleman scholar and antiquities collector who, to her surprise, was deeply in love with his wife. Emily becomes fascinated with this new image of her dead husband and immerses herself in all things ancient and begins to study Greek. Emily's intellectual pursuits and her desire to learn more about Philip take her to the quiet corridors of the British Museum, one of her husband's favorite places. There, amid priceless ancient statues, she uncovers a dark, dangerous secret involving stolen artifacts from the Greco-Roman galleries. To complicate matters, she's juggling two prominent and wealthy suitors, one of whose intentions may go beyond the marrying kind. As she sets out to solve the crime, her search leads to more surprises about Philip and causes her to question the role in Victorian society to which she, as a woman, is relegated. Lots of strong women in these types of series. This next one is also another medieval set. Series. I read these in beginning of the 2000s. The author then didn't write them for a period of time, and she's back to writing them again, continuing the series. So there's a big gap somewhere in the middle. But so far there are 14 books in this series. The first one is The Apothecary Rose. This is by Candace and Rob. Once the king's captain of archers, now he must penetrate a poisoner's secrets. Christmastide, 1363, and at an abbey in York, two pilgrims die mysteriously dead of an herbal remedy. Die mysteriously dead. Overlook that. Suspicious, the Archbishop sends for Owen Archer, a Welshman with the charm of the devil who lost one eye to the wars in France and must make a new career as an honest spy. Masquerading as an apprentice to apothecary Nicholas Wilton, whose shop dispensed the fatal potion, Owen's dark curls, leather eye patch, and gold earring intrigue Wilton's wife. But is this lovely woman a murderess? And what links the Wiltons to bumbling brother Wulfstan, ascetic Archdeacon Anselm, and his Weasley agent Potter Digby, and the ragged midwife Magna, the river woman? Answers as slippery as the frozen cobblestones draw Owen into a dangerous drama of old scandals and tragedies, obsession, and unholy love. One of my things I look for in a book, in an author's writing, is an intelligence behind it. And the ones that I'm mentioning here have that. Now, this one it says it has a lot of books, but a few of these are novellas that they are counting as full books. And this first one is an actual novella, being only 100 pages. It's kind of a prequel, so to speak. Several of the other books are full-length books, but to begin to get the backstory, start with his Spanish Bride. This is by Teresa Grant. Currently 28 books in the series, but again, several of these are novellas. When intelligence agent Malcolm Rannoch proposes to Sand de Saint-Vallier, the tumult of the Peninsular War recedes, if only temporarily, for their union may have shattering consequences for the more fragile partnership between Britain and Spain. But meanwhile, let the celebrations begin. It is 1812, British Embassy, Lisbon. How about telling what it is about? Basically, this is the backstory of them getting married, which is an interesting concept in these kinds of books, because usually you have a slow burn romance. And so this is another novella. Again, they're calling it book 2, but it's another novella. And this one is called London Interlude. A year and a half after entering her unusual marriage of convenience to British attaché and intelligent agent Malcolm Rannoch, Suzanne Rannoch pays her first visit to her husband's home, England, the country her husband fled for reasons she does not fully understand, the country Suzanne has secretly spent the last 5 years fighting against as a French spy. The trip makes Suzanne and her husband to the heart of London society, the world Malcolm grew up in. a glamorous labyrinth of unwritten rules and unvoiced codes. Yet the glittering ballrooms of London are not free of the intrigues of the Napoleonic Wars. The search for stolen papers that could tip the international balance of power pits Malcolm and Suzanne against each other. Suzanne faces a stark choice between her loyalty to her cause and her love for the man she married in order to spy on him. Fun series. I got to get back to that one too. All right, we have time for one more. Oh, believe me, throughout the month of January, I will be telling you a bunch of historical mysteries. Again, I love this subgenre, and there's a lot of good ones out there. Speaking of Jane Austen, if you like Jane Austen, she's actually the main character in this one. Now, I usually don't like books that use real people as main characters solving crimes. Sorry, they did not have time to do this, but this one is actually done very well. This author, Stephanie Barron, really uses the language of the time of Jane Austen, which really adds to the story. So this first one is called Jane and the Unpleasantness at Scargrave Manor, and there are 14 books in this series. On a visit to the estate of her friend, the young and beautiful Isabel Payne, Countess of Scargrave, Jane bears witness to a tragedy. Isabel's husband, a gentleman of mature years, is felled by a mysterious and agonizing ailment. The Earl's death seems a cruel blow of fate for the newly married Isabel, yet the bereaved widow soon finds that it's only the beginning of her misfortune, as she receives a sinister missive accusing her and the Earl's nephew of adultery and murder. Desperately afraid that the letter will expose her to the worst sort of scandal, Isabel begs Jane for help, and Jane finds herself embroiled in a perilous investigation that will soon have her following a trail of clues that leads all the way to Newgate Prison and the House of Lords, a trail that may well place Jane's own person in the gravest jeopardy. I first started reading these. I just purchased I had this in paperback. I need to reread these to get going on it again. I have the fun thing about being older is books that you read 20, 30 years ago, you can reread now, and you're a different person. And the books might, and you probably don't remember some of it. But there's a lot I need to reread here. So, bell ring. Our time is up. Don't do a commercial. Don't do a commercial. But it just means we have more books to read, like they're new. Like the Jester one that I talked about last week. I love that series, but it's been a long time. I would love to read that again. Mary says, hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas, eats lots of delicious food, and reads lots of scrumptious books over the weekend and on Monday. Wishing you all joy, good health, and happiness. Merry Christmas. My gosh, you said it all. That is what I wish for everybody. I hope to see you tomorrow afternoon. If you're able to pop in for a bit, it'll be Christmas Eve, so hopefully you might be out shopping. Guys will definitely be, the men will start their Christmas shopping tomorrow. Annalise says, you too. Basically, tomorrow I'm just going to be crocheting. I got to get going on that. Amal, if you're still here, travel safely. Let us know if you can pop in how you're doing. 5-hour sprint. Yes. So, have a good Friday. Stay safe. Be happy. If I don't see you, Merry Christmas. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a monster. Have a good day, TJF. God bless.